Hi guys, welcome back to Pypro vs YouTube channel where curiosity meets the core. Today we'll be discussing about how to create a circular window with interactive buttons on it. But before that, we'll be checking the packages pre-installed in my system. So the first command that I'm going to execute in command prompt is PIP where you can see all the packages with the versions. So I can give a look about what package is what version and update it accordingly. So you can take a look onto your packages. If not installed, please do install it. You can just Google how to install and there will be a command for that to execute in command prompt. Another command to check for all these is PIP freeze, which gives a similar output where packages with the version will be mentioned. So let's move on to the program. So we'll start from importing all the libraries. So the first thing that we have imported is SYS. So this is for accessing system specific parameters and function. And also from PyQt, there are few of the widgets and application for main window imported necessary for the main window display. And also there is QPainter, QBrush, QColor, QFont to paint and style the GUI elements. And also from PyQt, Qt core and Qt Q point is also imported. It's a core functionality and data types including the constant and the point coordinates. So let's see the main class, which is circular window, and under that we have five of the function. One including in itself, which is the basic window display, and the second one is a paint event, so that can be colorful. Like we can change the color, height, and width, and everything over there. And we'll move on to the next one, which is mouse press event, which handles the mouse press events, like it detects if the button is clicked or not, and things like that. And the next one is distance to mouse move event, where it handles mouse move events. And the last one is distance to button self, so it calculates the distance. We'll see, and then the main program to run in the loop. So let's see this one by one, how the program. So let's go with the first one, which is define int self, which gives the basic UI interface. So as you can see, the first sentence self window flags, it sets the window flags to make the window frameless and stay on the top. So we are making a frameless window. And the second sentence is self dot set attribute with translucent background. So we are setting the background also as a translucent. And then self dot set geometry is x and y axis followed by width and height of the window that we are going to be facing. And the self dot button size is the size of the button, which will be 50, 100. We can change it according to our preferences. And self dot button one dot rows sets the button. So there are two buttons, right? So self dot button one dot rows is equal to Q point. We're using Q point to set the button where x axis ball followed by y axis. Here I'm giving according to the circle. It is self dot width. The width of the circle divided by 4 will be the x axis and the y axis will be self dot height divided by 2. And when it comes to the second button, it's the same, but here I have little bit changed it. Self dot width into 3 divided by 4, so it's 3/4 of the height. And then self dot height divided by 2 will be the position. This is using Q point, and we are setting the hover state as false. So coming to the next one, definition of paint event. So, as you know, the painter set, which is used to colorfully paint, the first sentence is painter is equal to Q painter self. This initializes the Q painter object to perform drawing operation. And the second one is painted or set render hint, which sets rendering hint for smooth drawing. Now then we are setting the brush color as transparent for drawing the circular window, so there won't be much of background color. And painted or set brush cube brush color, we are setting a transparent background. And also set pen no pen to avoid drawing of the border of the eclipse. So there won't be, even the border won't be available, it will be transparent. And the next is painted or draw dot eclipse 0, comma 0 self width self height. So this draws the circular window background. So we are setting the eclipse and self width and self height also. Then how to configure font for drawing the text label is font is equal to q font. Set the font to q font. Font dot set font size 12. So we are giving size as 12. Painter dot set font as font. Then we are giving text one is equal to button one, text two is equal to. So we need a button one, button two displayed over there. So we have a defined text label for buttons. And then if cell button one is hover, then set the color of the brush to one of the RGB colors. This changes the button color when hovered, as it's a default button color. There is a one default. If hovered, there is a, like if you click on the button, it changes to another color. Next, we are going to painter.draw eclipse, where self button one was minus self button radius, and also a y-axis is set. So this sets the text color to black. Painter.draw.text. This sentence draw the text label on button 1. Now moving on to the draw button 2. It's the same, almost the same code is replicated here, where we are defaultly setting the color of the text as black, and then if hovered, if we clicked, the color changes, and if not, there is a default color set, and also there is a position set for the button. So let's move on to the next function, which is the definition of mouse press event. So what happens here is the first sentence, if event button is equal to Qt left button. So it is detecting which button is clicked based on the hover state and print a corresponding message. So if button 1 was clicked, it is printing button 1. If the cell button 2 is being clicked, it will print button 2 is clicked. And then the loop continues. So let's continue with the next function, which is definition of mouse movement event. So here what happens, let me just select the text for you. So here, as you can see, the first sentence is if self distance button, comma, self button pose is less than self button radius, then the hover button is set to true, else button 1 is set to true, button 2 is set to false. Else if there are self button is set to true, and then hover 1 is set to false. So here what's happening is update button hover state based on the mouse cursor. So whenever I move the mouse over the particular picture, it's going to be updating, and it's going to see whether it's close to the button or not. So then there is a trigger of self update, trigger a repaint of the widget. So it triggers the repaint of the widget too. Let's move on to the next, which is definition distance to button, where continuously the button is being calculated the Manhattan distance between a given position and the center of a button. So it returns a particular number of length. So then coming to the main of the function, here what happens? We create a Q application instance to manage the GUI application, and then create an instance for a circular window class and show the window and start the application event loop and exit when there is a termination required according to the buttons on the GUI window. So let's quickly just see the output. So let me just open where the file is, copy the name, and then go to command prompt in the same window, and Python space the file name which you copied .py. So, and then it's running. You can see a transparent window. We have set the color of an RGB yellow, and it changed the cursor point when it is near to the button 1, and 2 when clicked also it changed to the red color. So let's see what happens. So when clicked, you can see that the background, the command prompt, it is showing button one. If you have learned something from this video, please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.